and welcome to the MBS show tries to review for the third time Filli Vanilli. This is episode number 14 of season 4, episode 79 overall, released on February 15, 2014, written by Amy Keating Rogers and storyboarded by Emmett Hall and Tony Cliff. This is James Corck, and welcome for the third time, Norman.
Hello, this is the third take.
I'm making a statement here. It took us 3 times to record this review because I have no idea how to take on this. And it's not the episode. It's more something surrounding the episode that still happens at the time that we recorded this. We recorded this on February the 18th. And even to this day, people keep complaining about something that happened in the episode. They are complaining at Megan McCarthy and at Amy Keating Rogers on Twitter. Guys, this is another rant. I promised that I wasn't going to start with another one, but I have to say this, or else, like on the previous one, I'm going to explode. We are very lucky when it comes to interacting with the people that bring us this amazing TV show. We are really lucky to have such an easy access to the writers, the producers, the musicians, the directors, the voice actors, and the animators. Because back then, I am talking to you about the 80s, 90s, hell, even in 2009, it was really difficult to get a hang of whoever produced or whoever directed what movie, what TV show, anyways. And it was really difficult to talk to them and say, you suck, you're great, you're terrible, you're awesome, you deserve to be burned in a fire, you deserve to be showered with Oscars. It was really difficult to do that. And now that Twitter exists, that difficulty is gone. Suddenly interacting with producers is very easy. And there is a level of etiquette that you have to keep in order to talk with these people. Because Amy Keating Rogers kind of predicted it in her episode. When Pinkie Pie is talking about, they'll turn on you, becoming a seething angry mob, and you'll be horribly humiliated, never able to show your face again. She's talking about those people who complain that Pinkie Pie is not written in character, and those who get out of their ways to insult her work and to be mean at her. And I know very well that for every people that complain about it, there are 20, 10, 30, however amount of people more praising her work and complimenting her and sending her good messages and constructive and positive messages, but still that anger is still there. You need to be polite. Even if you say that you don't like something, you need to know how to say it. For as much as I rage about the Brony analyst community, about how much they say that they hate something, at least they know how to say it. They know how to say that they hate something, and they know how to say that they don't like something. They insist too much on it, that is true, but when they say it, it doesn't hurt. When you say it on Twitter, it hurts. And you have to be careful with that. I'm not saying this because, oh my God, look at that, they are so hurt, you need to leave them alone. No, Amy has been working on this for years. She has a very thick skin, okay? You're not going to spook her away. However, you might discourage her for wanting to interact with the community ever again, or go to events, or go to places. Because if you go at her on Twitter and you say, I'm going to burn your face with acid on the next convention that you go to, do you think she's going to want to go to a convention to interact with you? Of course not. Nobody wants that. Anyone would be afraid of that. So please, know how to say. You can express your dislike of something that happens in the episode, but you need to know how to say it. And with that, I'm going to end the rant. If you want to say anything, Norman, go ahead.
Just be polite.
Yeah.
Just be polite. You don't be some kind of egotistical maniac that thinks that you're always right. Here's a quote from Bambi. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Done.
Very wise words.
I'm done. No. The 2 previous take, I had something to say, but no, I'm done. I'm no. James, I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah, I'm done with this whole rant thing, no.
Okay, done. I'm going to put that away. Guys, let's forget about that. Well, except those of you who have to correct it. And let's talk about this episode. This week's episode, which is, if last week's was, oh my god, James's waifu is all horrible and terrible to everybody in town, this week's episode will be Norman's waifu is all nice and happy.
You know, before we move on, I noticed a few things like from last week's episode and this week's episode. Last week's episode, your waifu and Applejack got along really well. This week's episode, my waifu and your waifu got along really well. I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah, I'm seeing that my waifu is the most sociable waifu of them all, and I feel kind of sad for those who had Twilight Sparkle as their waifu. I'm gonna go into that. No, really, I'm gonna go further into that later on. But we might tackle this as the episode goes along. But I will bring it up. I will mention it. So okay, Norman, what did you think of this episode? Now that you are the guy who's completely biased towards it and not me, what did you think of this episode?
For the third time, favorite episode of the week.
We're back. We're back to Norman having a favorite episode every week. Last week was a breach in the space-time continuum, like going, oh no, Norman doesn't like an episode this week. This is not this week's favorite episode. What's wrong with the world? And now everything is right.
Yes.
And the breach has been sealed. And reality can acquire its normality again. And we're all back to normal.
Yay! Everything's back to normal.
You must be a very happy guy for this week's episode.
Like I showed you before, my list of likes and dislikes. I had to cross out the dislikes because there's no more rooms for the likes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, you only showed me your list of likes. Like
yeah.
you didn't hate anything of it.
No. Oh boy.
Oh,
I don't know
man.
what DHS is doing with this episode, but their animation, their facial, oh god, it's just good, so good.
This episode was adorable. I know it's very weird for me to say that. I know it's like, oh my god, this guy is saying that My Little Pony is an adorable show. Guys, if you think about it, season 4 has probably been the least adorable season this show has ever had. Because when the episodes were not action-packed and hardcore, they were very saucy, and when they were not saucy, they were really epic.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had an episode that you can sit down, watch it, and say, this is the cutest thing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And even with the previous Fluttershy episode that was Bats, which we can consider a 50% episode about Fluttershy, 50% about Applejack, but the episode that pretty much introduced her to this season, she turns into a vampire, okay? And that is as far away as cute as you can imagine, even though Flutterbat is pretty adorable, but that is really not something that you look at and you say, oh, so cute. You look at that and you say, oh my god, what the hell? So this is the first episode of the season that we can look at and say, yeah, this is 100% genuinely adorable. And it is great because the episode loves it. This is the kind of episode that you look at it and you go, oh my god, the guys who work on this had so much fun. And I have to say something. This show is very special because it broke the stereotype of every modern cartoon has to be postmodern, it has to be cynical about things, and it has to be sarcastic about itself. This is a show. It started being very true to itself, very honest, with basically no
That's not a word
in it. However, season 4 has had quite excess of cynicism as it goes. And I think this is because Megan McCarthy is the story editor. Don't get me wrong, I think she's doing a really good job, but both Megan and Meriwether Williams, they were the experts of cynicism during seasons 1 and 2. If you watch any episode by Megan, you can notice very well that, yeah, she likes to throw a bit of cynical comment or like keeping a cynical atmosphere. Like Dragon Shy and Green Isn't Your Color, they were basically all about that. Let's not talk about Party of One. But the way that she used cynicism in this show was really smart. Unlike the way Meriwether Williams used it, which was kind of like ham-fisted and not very subtle. I know I'm not alone on this, but I'm pretty lonely when it comes to this kind of perspective. Although, because of this show, because this season started being so cynical, that's good. That's good. It kept consistent. But this is the first episode that I can consider to be absolutely 100% completely positive, upbeat, and downright optimistic. You know what? We should review this episode. And I will explain as we keep reviewing why do I say this.
All right.
Okay, so the episode starts with Fluttershy singing, and we very quickly realize that this pony lives in a Disney movie. Like, it's no mystery, no joke, no nothing. It is clear. She lives in a Disney movie. She is Rapunzel in Tangled. She is Snow White. She's Belle in Beauty and the Beast. First thing she does when she wakes up is start singing.
Well, she does have birds, so birds like to sing.
Yeah, I have literally no complaint about it because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful singing. Beautiful enough to summon all of the main six into her courtyard who are like, oh my god, we have never seen you sing something so beautiful before. And she, of course, she's meek and like, oh no, please don't. And things don't get better when Pinkie Pie gets out of her way to say, oh my god, it wasn't just so beautiful, it was the most amazing thing in the world, and you're so good, you're going to be famous, but then when you become famous, everybody's going to hate you, and they're going to judge you. And then, of course, just Fluttershy keeps going. She sings more and more and more, and she starts crying, and oh my god, the last face that she has when she's crying, that's outrageously funny. I cannot help it. She has the face of... She looks like, oh my god.
Like I said before, the animation for this show is going way beyond what it should be. This is like, people say that season 3 or the animation for season 2 and 3 was good. Season 4, oh my goodness, it was go way beyond good.
It's good that... I mentioned this in Flight to the Finish, how the animation in Miss Harswinnie's face distracted me from what she was saying. It finally looks like the expressions are not meddling with the story and the narrative of the episode, because it keeps moving forward. I am like, oh my god, this face is distracting me so much. It's more like, oh, hey, I'm really enjoying this scene. It's really good. The animation is great, but it's not bothering me.
You also said that for Pinkie Pride, when Pinkie was doing the faces too.
Pinkie Pie had a feast in this episode when it comes to facial expressions. If this fandom is about something, they do love their facial expressions. Pinkie Pie is just going all crazy. Her face is silly putty at this point. But then Rarity stops Pinkie before she goes any further because, oh my god, Pinkie Pie, stop pressuring poor Fluttershy. Oh, speaking of pressuring, hey Fluttershy, would you like to be part of my music group? It's called the Ponytones. We are a quartet, but we would like to have you and become a quintet. To which Fluttershy, of course, says, no. And that's good because it's like, oh my god, she's asserting herself. Finally, she says no to something instead of being a pushover and say, no, yes, okay, fine, no, we'll do it. No, she stands her ground and she's like, no, I won't do it. And surprisingly enough, Rarity is okay with that. And she's like, well, I mean, I like that line that she says, it's kind of a waste of a talent, but I'm not going to pressure you into it. That was so nice.
Mm-hmm. And very matured for a kid's show.
It shows that Rarity doesn't want to let that talent go to waste, but she doesn't want to pressure her friend just for the sake of it. And this whole conversation about the music group comes because there is a fundraising event going on for the Ponyville Pet Center. And Fluttershy is one of the ones organizing it, of course, because she's the pet pony. She's the animal caretaker. And Rarity's group, the Ponytones, are taking care of the...
entertainment.
Yeah, the entertainment, exactly. And they're singing at the event. So then we cut to the scene where the Ponytones are rehearsing. And we see something that many people were looking forward to, but nobody dared to say. That is Big Mac's debut on this show as he starts singing.
I literally lose my mind. I was yelling and banging my chair like, oh my god, I did it!
I was really happy to see Big Mac finally having a singing part in this show. Now we're finally revealed that what Amy said a couple of months ago, saying, "Oh, I finally got the chance to write songs for characters that I didn't write songs before," and that's what she was talking about. Something was telling me that it was Big Macintosh.
Really?
Yeah, really. I really was looking forward to when he started going the pom 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 pom. I was happy with that, but then he started singing proper, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And the whole rehearsal is being witnessed by Fluttershy, who's happy and singing and bouncing her ass in front of the screen. Not for the last time in the episode, I must say. And when they're done, another thing, you're going to excuse me, but I really have to bring all of this up because Rarity just shined on this episode. I know it's a Fluttershy episode, but Rarity had so many good moments. Because Spike goes to compliment just Rarity herself. And instead of taking the merit, Rarity just gives the merit to the rest of the team. She's like, Spike, this is an ensemble. To what Spike is just a little...
That's not a word.
...of a guy, and he's like, you were pretty good.
This is what happens to most bands, where the lead singer gets most of the adulation, while the rest of the band are just backgrounds.
Yeah, but in this case, the main singer will be Big Macintosh, because on the next day, they start rehearsing again, and Big Macintosh cannot sing because, oh my god, he lost his voice, and the entire group is completely lost. So, poor Big Mac, he loses his voice because... And we have a very Family Guy-esque cutaway to an event that happened the previous day.
I have to say, this is the most funniest way to lose a voice ever.
A turkey call event. You know what? I did say it was a very, very Family Guy-esque cutaway kind of moment. And when you think about it, this is exactly the kind of thing that Family Guy will cut away. I can totally imagine Peter Griffin saying, "Boy, that reminds me of the time I lost my voice doing a turkey call contest."
Yep.
So yeah, of course, not only he loses his voice at the turkey call contest, but he also loses the prize because it's Pinkie Pie the one who wins the contest.
She is an apple.
I just realized this episode is full of little...
That's not a word.
Oh my god. But not having Big Mac being able to perform on the group, they will have to call off the entire band.
Yeah.
And Fluttershy doesn't want to do that because, oh my god, what about the animals? Don't you think of the animals? The event is going to be a disaster. So, in order to find a remedy, they go visit Secora. And yeah, Secora does have a remedy to cure Big Macintosh's voice, but it will not be fast enough. So they need to find a substitute. They need a deep voice to replace Big Macintosh. Now, Secora is like, oh, I know what to do. Do you remember episode 9 of season 1 when you all thought I was... When you all thought I was an evil enchantress and you trumped into the poison joke? Yeah, we're going to bring the poison joke back so we can summon Flutter Guy from the deepest regions of Fluttershy psyche.
Wow.
This is when I realized this episode was really smart. Any other TV show would have...
That's not a word.
Its way out of this. There is no other way to put it. They would have just mangled or tried to justify their means or whatever. But no, this show actually is smart enough to say, do you remember that one thing that we used in season 1? Right back, all the way back to when the episodes, the amount of episodes still was, it could be counted with 1 digit. Yeah, we're going to use that. And I am like, wow, flashback continuity all the way. And let's bring back a character that, in my opinion, was absolutely hilarious. I don't know about you, but when Flutter Guy spoke for the first time, I lost it. I actually had to pause the episode because I was laughing so hard.
Same here. It was like, okay, you look normal, girl. What's wrong? I don't want to talk about it. Like, oh my god, like what?
Such a deep, manly voice coming out of Fluttershy's mouth. The girliest of all the characters. And she had the manliest voice in the world. True. It's like, why not using Flutter Guy to substitute the deep manly voice of Big Macintosh? Oh, that's perfect. Okay, you're going to be on stage. Maybe not. So Rarity is like, how about we use playback? Yeah, you're going to be singing behind the scenes, and Big Macintosh is going to be on stage moving his mouth.
In the industry, we call that lip syncing.
So they go with it, and we cut to the next night where everyone is in the event, and they all have their pets, and they're all happy and cheerful and all that. And Fluttershy is nowhere to be seen, of course. And so the Ponytones start singing, and Fluttershy starts singing behind the scenes, and she's enjoying herself. She's having so much fun doing that. And that's one of the things that keeps constant during the entire episode, is that, Fluttershy is scared, she's afraid of it, but you can totally see how passionate she is about this. And her passion is kind of contagious. By the end of her first performance, there is no way you cannot have a smile on your face. And it's not because it's funny, it's not because, look, she's speaking like Flutter Guy. No, it's because she's really enthusiastic about it.
And you can see that she's really enjoying herself. I don't know how they do it. It's an animation. But you can really tell that she's enjoying herself. And when you see that, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, when the song ends and they cut to her behind the curtains, she's there standing, smiling with her eyes closed, and she doesn't even listen to the applaud of the audience. She's just enjoying the moment. And then she looks at the curtain, then she looks, and she's like, she does this happy face that I don't know how to describe it in English, but she's like, there is no other way to describe it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so absolutely adorable. And the performance ends. The main six congratulate the entire group, and they see Fluttershy coming from behind scenes, and they're questioning her. Oh, where were you? Where did you go? And cue me gushing on Rarity because she goes in the assistance of Fluttershy, and she's like, oh, she was just making sure everything went right behind the scenes, and it was perfect. And I'm like, yeah. You see, that's my favorite character. Yeah, you see that? Yeah. I never gave up on her. She's awesome in every episode. And so after the titular congratulations and everything, they get approached by this guy who, for some reason, people say that I look like him.
No, you don't, but still.
Of course I don't, but you know what? It would be weird. It would be funny if there was only one guy, but I had like 5 people telling me, oh man, this guy reminds me of you, and I am like, why?
Is it the accent?
I don't have that. I don't have the hair, I don't have glasses, and I don't have a beard, but these guys say, oh no, James, this is you, and I'm like, oh, piss off. Who wants to hire the Ponytones? He wants to hire the Ponytones to celebrate his little girl's quinceañera. And Rarity doesn't want to do that on the first place, but Fluttershy insists that she doesn't want to disappoint the little Filli. And of course, she insists with the Flutter Guy voice, which is really funny. It's not as funny as in season 1, I might say, but that's absolutely fine. It's still really, really something to hear Fluttershy talk with such a manly voice. Oh, Rarity, we don't want to disappoint that little Filli, do we? So, yeah, they go to the quinceañera, they perform, and they knock it out of the park. They knock it out of the park so much that the mayor decides to hire them for the next ribbon-cutting scene. And, yeah, they go there again. And again, Fluttershy insists on going. The ribbon-cutting scene is an absolute success. The Spa twins want to hire them. And then Rarity is like, no, but Fluttershy is like, yes. Then they go to the Spa, and she really wants to hire them for a performance at the class. And Fluttershy is like, no, come on, let's not disappoint them. And they go and all that. And it's like, they go from one event to the other. And the force that keeps motivating them to keep pulling this kind of gig is Fluttershy herself. Again, keep going with her enthusiasm for what she's doing. on their supposed last gig, Big Macintosh's voice has finally recovered. He has finally gotten better. But Fluttershy doesn't want to stop doing it, so for one last time, they're going to do this lip-syncing playback thing. And sadly, Fluttershy's, like, I hate to repeat the word enthusiasm, but in her outrageous enthusiasm, she ends up blowing the whole cover away. She knocks the curtain with her butt and reveals to the entire audience that it is her doing the singing.
A funny thing that I noticed, or an interesting fact that I saw, like what Amy did with the script here, once she was discovered, I thought everybody was going to be shocked, like, boo, something like that. But instead of what I thought booing, they actually supported and cheered and yays. And
yeah, they actually liked it.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool and weird at the same time, because you expect, oh my god, now they're going to hate her. They're going to absolutely despise her for what she's doing. But no, they actually love her. They're like, oh my god, you were the one singing?
that's
That's
awesome.
so cool. But she doesn't take it like that. She is like, oh my god, everybody's looking at me. Everybody's looking at me. Why are there floating pony faces looking at me?
This is not the first time.
Oh, God, you know what? This show does know better. It knows way too well how to portray a panic attack. Like, that was horrible.
Oh yeah, man.
No, not in the fact that it was... No, okay, it was horrible because of how well done it was. If you have ever had a panic attack in public, that is exactly how it feels. It's just... It rips me apart how well portrayed it was. And how horrifying it was in the end. Which is kind of curious because it's followed by probably the funniest thing this episode has.
Flutter guy crying?
No, not Flutter Guy crying. That was actually, to be honest, that was kind of weird because that cry, I can recognize that sound clip. That wasn't from this season. That was the dragon crying in season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the voice actor who did the voice of Flutter Guy in season 1 is the same voice actor who did the voice of the dragon in Dragonshy. Oh. So to hear the dragon cry coming out of Flutter Guy's mouth, that was kind of weird.
Oh, okay. I need to rewatch it, and because I need to rewatch it then.
Yeah, it's especially weird because the voice actor who did the voice of Flutter Guy in this episode is not the same guy who did the Flutter Guy voice in season 1.
Okay.
You can look at it in the credits. In season 1, it was a voice actor named Bloom and Kuma. In this episode, it was Alvin Sanders doing the voice of Flutter Guy and Marcus Mosley doing the singing voice of Flutter Guy. So it definitely wasn't the same voice actor. But no, I'm not talking about Flutter Guy crying. I'm talking about Applejack arguing with Big Macintosh.
Okay.
That change is just...
priceless.
First of all, that looks like something out of a Marx Brothers movie. Because of the timing and the way it's written. It's incredible. It's impossibly funny. How funny that is. And, okay, it is so funny, and I laughed so hard, I actually knocked myself out.
Oh, boys.
I laughed myself into unconsciousness with that scene. I literally, I got dizzy. I became dizzy after that. I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe it. This show actually knocked myself out with its comedy. That was unbelievable.
That was good.
That was really good. Especially because of how Applejack says everything in the most nonchalantly unsurprised way, because she has already figured all of this out in her head. So she just needs confirmation from her brother.
Oh god.
And she's dead center in every single thing. It's like, oh my god, Applejack, you're perfect. I love you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Applejack second place, man, second place.
So they figure out that it was Fluttershy doing the singing and all that, and that Fluttershy is broken. So they go to her cottage to try and cheer her up, but then Pinkie Pie talks.
Oh god.
She goes so over the top, saying how everyone was looking at her and she was living her worst nightmare and it was horrible and oh my god, weren't you freaking out? And Fluttershy is like, I was freaking out, and then she leaves. And the rest of her friends start chasing her, trying to make her stop from running away, but she doesn't. She just can't. She wants to quit everything and just leave. And that's again, here comes James is going to talk about his waifu. That's when Rarity says that she shouldn't be running away because she was Fluttershy was the one who was motivating the whole group to keep going to concerts and performances. Like, nobody was forcing Fluttershy to do that. She was the one who was motivating herself to do it. And after that pep talk, Fluttershy sees things from a different perspective. And on the next scene, we see her dressed as one of the Ponytoons, and she's singing, performing live in front of the main six and a bunch of animals. And even when Rarity says that they are going to be performing on the next Sap Apple celebration on Sweet Apple Acres, Fluttershy just backs down. She's like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not going to do it. And everyone is like, oh my God, are you serious? We're almost on the 22-minute mark. We should have the conflict fixed by this point. And then Fluttershy is like, baby steps, guys, baby steps. That I didn't expect.
Really, no?
I really didn't expect. This is the first time, without counting the Cutie Mark Crusaders never getting their cutie marks, that the conflict of the episode is not resolved within the episode. Like, if Fluttershy doesn't stop having a stage fright when the episode is over, she still has a stage fright. She has less of a stage fright now, but she's not completely cured. She is getting there, and that is very realistic. Like, people don't get cured of stage fright in an afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of psychological effort to get yourself into the mindset that you're going to perform in front of thousands of people. And I have the feeling this is going to have a payoff towards the end of the season. I don't know about you, but I can see this building up to Fluttershy performing in front of everybody.
True. I kind of, well, like you said, surprised. But to me, I did not see that coming. And the ending, it was logical and nice. It was built up nicely. And Fluttershy kind of learned her lesson and baby steps. Like you said, no one can face their fears in one go. Not everyone is Superman.
Yeah, not everyone can just pull over their fears and that's it. You know what? Even episodes like Flight to the Finish, they tackle the whole being bullied and being frightened and being insecure in a very light way. This episode takes it very seriously. As how lighthearted and how fun and how entertaining and how positive it was, it tackles the theme very maturely, which is kind of weird when you think about it. I mean, this is the fourth season of a TV show that based itself into telling morals to the children in the most transparent way possible by either sending letters to the princess or writing the lessons on a diary. And this is probably the first lesson that it says what you have to do is something that you cannot stop doing. You need to keep trying to get better.
True. Practice makes perfect and stuff.
Which goes the same with the theme of singing and performing in front of other people.
Yeah, and public speeches and public display. I forgot the real word for it, but anything that you do in public, it's not easy to get over. Like public speeches, those are really scary. And even with doing this podcast, at first I was scared. But now I'm kind of a pro and I don't really care about my quality. No, actually I do care.
Yeah, of course you care, Norman. And the thrill and the passion of doing this eventually tramples over the fear and the insecurity. And I think that's the important part that you have to take with, is that Fluttershy has a lot of passion for it, but her fears are bigger. Now she has to keep working on that, and probably in the future her passion will overcome her fears. I mean, fear is something that never leaves.
Oh, that's so true.
So that was Filli Vanilli, probably one of the smartest, most intelligent episodes in this series, and definitely the most adorable episode of the entire season. Like every time Fluttershy was on the scene was absolutely heart-exploding levels of cute, and not the kind of cute that it becomes annoying, the kind of cute that is like, oh my god, I want to give a hug to that Mick Pegasus. I want to give a hug to her so hard.
This episode, it's just so full of awesome scenes, awesome voice acting, awesome, just everything's awesome.
Don't say it. It is a really awesome, really fun episode, and it continues from what I was saying in the intro. Is that this episode is really positive? Like, at no point they tell Fluttershy to stop doing what she's doing. All the time, Rarity keeps supporting and helping her friend, and she's worried about Fluttershy not being okay with it, but Fluttershy is always okay with it because she wants to keep giving others more of her talent, because she knows that she's passionate about what she does, and she's happy to do it because it makes others happy. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And when it is revealed that it's Fluttershy the one doing it, Ponyville doesn't hate her. They love her for doing it. They are not booing or hating on her or anything. No, it's the complete opposite. And it's something that Rarity says towards the end of the episode, is like, when you face that crowd, you did experience your worst nightmare, and it wasn't so bad, wasn't it? Mm. And Fluttershy has to agree, yeah, it wasn't as bad as she expected. She might need a lot of work to do, but she's getting there.
True. I mean, this episode resonates with me because I remember back in the days when I was in high school. And in high school, I was doing taekwondo as an extracurriculum activity in school. And one of the things that the club wanted to do was perform a live show in front of the whole school for sports day or something like that. And with how doing performance, you might accidentally screw up or do something embarrassing. And those kind of things were really scary because you're performing in front of thousands of judging eyes. Insert what Pinkie Pie says. It is scary doing public performance. Ugh.
It is. It can be. And it's one of the reasons why some people are not even... They don't even dare to perform in front of audiences. Mm-hmm. And that is probably one of the only problems that I had with the episode, but not anymore. I had it when I was watching it, but then a friend of mine told me about this, and I saw the episode from a completely different perspective. Mm-hmm. We have seen Fluttershy perform in front of others in other episodes. Mm-hmm. We have seen her in Hearth Swarming Eve, and we have seen her in Hurricane Fluttershy. Now, we saw her that she kind of broke through her fears, but then... and then I was thinking, okay, if she wasn't afraid on those two episodes, why is she so afraid in this episode? Like, where is this fear coming from? And then this friend of mine told me, well, acting is one thing, but singing is a completely different other thing. Mm-hmm. You cannot compare one to the other. And he is absolutely right. You can act, you can perform in front of others, but maybe it comes to singing and you might screw things up. You don't know. It's a completely different universe. And it's a completely different way of seeing things. Thanks to that, I can see why she'd be freaking out. And the other thing that kind of bothered me when I was watching the episode, but after seeing the response, when I first watched the episode, I thought Pinkie Pie was a bit too annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but I thought she was annoying, but she wasn't out of character. Guys, Pinkie Pie is super extroverted. Pinkie Pie is so extroverted that she's basically an alien now, okay? So extroverted she is. She's completely out there. And she is used as a narrative device to emphasize how shy and how meek Fluttershy is. Pinkie and Fluttershy are complete opposites. Mm-hmm. Pinkie Pie is extroverted, happy, and completely crazy. Fluttershy is introverted, shy, and way too afraid of saying things sometimes. Mm-hmm. When you put one next to the other, of course, Pinkie Pie is going to appear as a very annoying, very screechy, very shouty, very loud individual. And that's her thing. That's who she is. She's like that. You cannot change her nature. Mm-hmm. Like in last week's episode, we had Rarity being a self-centered, unappreciative, egotistical...
That's not a word!
But she's not always like that. It's just an aspect of her personality. Being extroverted and out there is an aspect of Pinkie Pie's personality. Mm-hmm. She's like that. If you suddenly don't like Pinkie Pie for the way she's written, and she's written in character, then I think the problem is with you, not with the writing.
True indeed. And the thing is, the person writing the story is one of the best Pinkie Pie writers out there.
Let me correct you. Not one of the best
Indeed.
writer. Amy Keating Rogers knows Pinkie Pie like the palm of her hand. She is really good when it comes to writing for Pinkie.
Oh yeah, that is true.
She wrote Mystery on the Friendship Express, A Friend Indeed, and Pinkie Pride. She is a really good writer when it comes to Pinkie Pie. If you want someone to get Pinkie Pie right, get Amy. She's really good at it.
And if you even think about it, Mystery on the Magic Express, right?
Mystery on the Friendship Express.
Okay, Mystery on the Friendship Express. That was almost to the same level of insanity where Pinkie was on this episode. Her imagination was all over the place when it comes to the whole blaming other people or accusing other people.
Yeah, it's even worse because she spends the entire episode being vindictive and angry about it. It's like, oh my God, you eat the cake. No, you eat the cake. No, it was you. It was you. It was you. It was everybody. Oh my God, I'm going to... So, in that regard, Pinkie Pie was really bad in that episode. But, again, she was being taught a lesson. Like, do not make judgment before you have all the evidence.
And it's still in character. And if you want to complain, why didn't anybody complain on that episode? Like, oh, you written Pinkie Pie poorly, blah, 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 blah.
Well, nobody complained on that episode because, one, the fandom wasn't that big, and two, there was no hiatus between seasons where people could build their own preconceived ideas, character interpretations, headcanons, and fanfics. When people idealize a character, and they are like, this character is the most perfect thing ever. It has no flaws. And then they make an episode where the character has a flaw that is exploited, then they get mad. You know, it's funny because I didn't see anybody complain about that in Simple Ways. No, it's kind of weird because I expected a lot more negativity coming from Simple Ways, and in the end people were kind of like in the same page as I was. And I was thinking, oh my God, maybe I am like the only one thinking this. And then I was like, oh no, wait, everybody is thinking the same thing. Oh dear, that's kind of awkward. So, but I was surprised that people hated something about this episode. How can you hate something about an episode that is so good?
True.
I don't get it. It's beyond me. This episode is definitely one of the best episodes of the season. Not my favorite, but I will easily say it's one of them. Is the most upbeat, happy, positive, cute, hopeful, motivating episode of the season. This episode does what Flight to the Finish should have done, and that is it's a motivational boost that anyone can watch, and they can feel the blood pumping. Like after watching this episode, I was like, oh my God, I am so ready to do a couple of streams. And I think I did one. I think I did one stream after this episode. That's how happy I was after watching it.
True indeed. Too bad we could have spoiled it back then.
That is true. Okay, guys. Bottom line, it's a great episode. It is definitely one of the best episodes written by Amy. It's on the same level as Pinkie Pride. Pinkie Pride will be higher because it has Weird Al Yankovic. Come on. How can you top Weird Al Yankovic? It's impossible. But it is a fantastic episode. It is good, upbeat, and positive. I already said all of that. So, yeah. What about you, Norman?
I would say this is my favorite episode of the week. But compared to Pinkie Pride is still up there. And this comes as a close second. And overall, I say go watch it. This is an episode where you would learn a lesson because it is a lesson to be learned. And you know what? Songs, all of the songs, so good. Go listen.
Yeah, well, there were only like 2 songs, and I can see why people were kind of like complaining about, why weren't the Ponytones singing more different songs? They were only singing the one. I'm like, well, did you have any problems with the one? Because that was a very nice song. Like, God, the music. God, it was really funny. It felt like something out of Littlest Pet Shop, to be honest with you. It had that kind of vibe to it, but it also felt like something out of something sung by the Pretenders or Tennessee. It was really cool as well.
Oh, I wish Daniel Ingram would release a perfect song for that, like without the cuts here and there, because what we got was a lot of cuts. What I want is a perfect song, like what he did for season 2 ender for My Little Pony. What was that song? Brides.
It's what's the name of that song? I think I know what you're talking about.
You know that song for the end of season 2 where he sings. No, when Twilight sings and stuff. Go email us or tweet us for the answer, because I got no idea.
Oh, if you're talking about
Big
Brother Best Friend. Oh, yeah, you're right. That one had a few cuts. You're right.
Yeah, no,
Love is in Bloom.
No, you don't need to tweet us. Okay, Love is in Bloom. Yeah, that one, when the album was out, he did a perfect cut of that. So, yeah. But anyway, what's next week's episode, James?
Next week's episode is Twilight Time, written by Dave Polsky, episode 15 of season 4, episode 80 overall. Guys, we're getting close to the 100. What's going on here?
Oh, I'm scared.
I'm not going to say what it is about. We are not going to share the synopsis because, like last week,
no spoilers. I've read the synopsis for this one, and it's interesting. It's interesting.
We'll see what it is about, because Twilight has had so little of the spotlight.
But anyway, I have been Norman Sanzo.
And I have been very angry and talky James Corck. God, this episode has been very heavy on me.
Yes,
I need to shut up more often. And you need to talk more, Norman.
Oh, I should try. I've been taking lessons.
You're always quiet in the background there. Sometimes I feel like I'm the one talking and you're the one moving your mouth, like going blah, 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 blah.
But James, I take the mainline show, like the MBS show, normal episodes.
Yeah, you do. But then I am like, oh my God, this is kind of like MBS show reviews. And then it turns into the James Corck show. Nobody likes it. God.
Oh, I actually got email, but we can share that later.
I'm pretty sure it says, get rid of the Spaniard. Nobody likes that guy. Oh my God, he's hijacking your podcast. This is not the MBS show anymore. You know what the N stands for? The N stands for Malaysia gives over to Spain. That's the problem.
But anyway, if you want to know what's in the email, join us in the normal episodes. I have been Norman Sanzo, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Bye.